Yeah, she was Pocahontas was a human traffic rape victim. That's what she was. She was being um, held hostage by a captor. She was the queen of the land that they had subjugated, and the rest of the queens knew who she was, and she gave them a heads up all the way across the land on the journey. See, they don't tell y'all that because they don't want you to know that we ain't never laid down to these motherfuckers. We just readjusted to re-strategize. And they told me, Rod, you gonna be the one figure this shit out. And I'm like, not me. I'm not the smartest motherfucker in the goddamn drawer. She said, you don't gotta be the sharpest
That's
knife in the
right.
drawer. You just gotta be sharp enough to cut something. So
That's
I've just been
right.
running around cutting the fuck out they shit everywhere I see it. This a lie, but cut this motherfucker too with the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So
And the truth cuts more than anything else.
yeah, worst thing you can tell a motherfucker is the truth. Look, you can lie on a nigga and he'll laugh at you. You tell the truth on him, he'll shoot you in your face.
Yep. And
That's
that's a
right.
fact. That's a
That's
fact.
fact.
These Negroes so lost out here, they'll argue with you and argue with you, but don't know nothing about their damn bloodline. They'll argue with you about being out of Africa. They'll argue with you about Egypt. Is that, you know, and the sad part about it, if they said they kidnapped you from the west coast of Africa, what do Egypt got any damn thing to do with west coast of Africa? There's two different countries, and not only that, that's different cultures. But
Listen,
these niggas want to be Egyptians.
Egypt is as far from Ghana as New York is from Hawaii,
Facts.
if not further.
Mm, mm,
But you know, we over here don't realize that in the motherland they got warring tribes. You got tribes of invaders and tribes that's been there since the beginning. The ones that been there since the beginning, they never stopped fighting the motherfucker. That's why you had Ethiopians starving. The Arabs have been taking Sudanese and Somalians and Southern Egyptians and Algerians and for slaves for hundreds of years. This shit ain't none of this shit new. How do we find out or translate from the real alphabets, and how are the same names in Europe and America? How do we know if history is based on this soil or across the pond when the names being same? The whole purpose of leave that up for a minute. The whole purpose of using the same names is to confuse people. You got to
yep,
remember that part.
yep.
That's Anunnaki war strategy. When you go to Genesis, when you look at Cain's children, they named after Seth's children, or vice versa, right? Uh, it's difficult to learn how to translate it because you have to come into a certain knowledge of self in order to be able to see all of their tactics. When you learn how to read, excuse me, when you learn how to read your own thoughts, then the spirit come in. When the lie come up, nature tells you with an alert system, but most of us don't know our alert system. Some of us get a gut feeling, some of us get goosebumps, some of us get a headache, some of us our eyes jump, our ears ring. But we always, when we running down the wrong path, we get these intuitive reactions that the body is responding to nature telling you them niggas lying to you. Don't believe that shit. Don't trust that motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
So we stop teaching our children to listen to the inner voice because our school systems that we've been attending teaches them that the inner voice is the devil.
Mm-hmm.
So they can't never listen to the inner God because they've been told that the inner God is the devil. Devil mean enemy. The devil is the motherfucker telling you that shit. He said, okay, so the when you read, this was a good one. Georgetown University has a book called History of the World by Georgetown University. Oxford also have a book called Oxford University History of the World, and they some huge books. And when you read them, they don't read the same. The world history that Europe give is not the world history we get in America.
Mm.
The European world history give us more details. It shall tell us the fake names and the real names of a lot of the players, right? But
Mm.
we don't know that because we over here studying this from Americans' perspective. The American perspective is a colonizer's attempt to keep the colonized under control by teaching them a specific doctrine in education. Say teaching you in a Skinner box using the Pavlovian response system how to be a servant and usable on a workforce to keep their system afloat. Our people never mind working, but we're not gonna work for the enemy, not knowingly. And so they can't never let us know that the enemy is who we working for. Because when we realize it, we're gonna do the same thing they wrote about in the history books. They say the Native American doesn't make a good slave. The natives we found when we tried to force them to the field labor will sit in one place and refuse to move even until he starved to death.
Mm.
So they already know that we gonna follow something that the Chinese call the Wu Wei. The Wu Wei is one I got from RZA, by the way, from the Wu Tang Clan. But the Wu Wei is to do something, nothing in order to accomplish something. That
Mm.
means sit on your ass in order to win. That's all it takes. Divorce yourself from the entire system, go home and sit down and watch this bitch burn.
That's exactly what. That's
Take
right.
your motherfucking ball and go home. This your ball. The game over when you take your ball and go home because you're the only one with a ball on the field.
We the
Yep.
only, that's right. We the quarterbacks around here. That's right. They need our energy. I've been saying that.
So when I refer people to the Indigenous Rights Act of the United Nations and the Indigenous Rights Act of the United States, the reason why I do that is because before these motherfuckers left, they had to tell you that all of the rights they've been stealing from you, they had to count them out, the ones they stole, and tell you we didn't even have the jurisdiction to take that from you. It was good fucking you while we had you. But now, since you got into the gig that I'm really got little dick energy and I'm really short on the motherfucking delivery, I can go and leave now. And this is your note saying goodbye. That's all it is. They fucked us good, told us how they fucked us, and left us a note on the dresser on their way out.
Then we just need to get their asses up out of here, though. That's the whole main part. Because as long as
That
they're
ain't even the hard part, though. Getting them out of here ain't even the hard part. In the because most of the dirty players have been rounded up at the highest levels. The little minions that's left, Angel Bay and them gonna clean them dirty Moors up so fast y'all ain't gonna even know it was ever a dirty Moor in existence.
I
I'm not
sure.
worried about that. The Almighty Peakstones is not gonna
well,
play with them.
the Caucasians are the Moors.
No,
No.
them
Mm-mm.
motherfuckers look like us, but they not us.
Okay,
That's right.
yeah, but that's
Yes.
what we already said that head honcho who's running the bullshit look like us. But we talking about these old dusty motherfuckers that's running around here thinking they slick. They selling off. Well, they really ain't selling the land. They're selling what's on the land. Cause see, they got the Chinese coming up in here. The Chinese just
All that smoke and mirrors, sweetie.
That
okay.
sure is.
See,
Yeah.
so they
Jackpot.
want you to think that the problem is bigger than Earth itself, so you won't even attempt to fix it. All of them pale people in positions of power is controlled by one of these dirty blackamoors,
Mm-hmm.
what they call more Zionist Jews. Them the motherfuckers been running the show ever since they been here.
Frida said, "What about these Siberian chinos? Uh, these Siberian Huskies."
You talking about what she talking about
$5.
Yeah,
look,
alone.
okay, so the $5 Indians is in groups.
Mm-hmm.
You got some of them that turned on the people that made them $5 Indians.
Mm.
They got exposed to us, and they love for us. They was like, "Fuck them people that brought us over here. We with you." Those are the ones that was entrusted to hold tribal secrets in sweat lodges over the peace pipe. But the ones that we don't want to fuck with, you'll know them in a minute because they not gonna recognize us as nothing but some niggas. That's how you know the $5 Indians that I'm about to talk about next.
That's
So they
right.
had chiefs that was made chiefs by Andrew Jackson, I think it was. He can't make no motherfucking chiefs over here because he ain't no goddamn chief from over here.
There you
So,
go.
and
Exactly.
he ain't got no mitochondrial right to knight no man chief on this land. This is the law of the land. When you go back to the lady and talking to the Pope, she's talking about a higher law, the law of the land. She put that motherfucker on notice and said we got the chiefs assembled. That got to be known to us. I've been screaming this shit for motherfucking 3 years now.
what he's doing and what we should be doing. So help me welcome for the very first time to this platform, Brother Rod Hayes. But before he comes on, please be sure to like, share, and if you have not already done so, subscribe to our channel. Now let's receive Brother Rod Hayes.
How you doing?
How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Just trying to wake the people up. That's all.
I know that's right. I know that's right. And I am, first of all, let me say that I am have been a follower of your work ever since I first came across you. I mean, a few months back. I don't know how many months that was, but the thing that got me was I heard you mention uh, Grand Sheik Taj Tariq, and
Right.
you were talking about how he had been saying what what you were saying. He had been saying it for like 30, 40 years, and we still hadn't gotten it. And I said, okay, I mean, make sure his name was being mentioned in a good context because there's so many haters out there that don't
Listen,
appreciate and respect what he's doing. But that got me, and from then you had me from at that point.
so Taj has been pretty consistent in what he's been teaching. We were under a contract. The contract we didn't sign. We didn't make the contract first of all, but the contract was written in the blood of one of our elders.
Okay.
So no blood of the righteous shall be spilled in vain. So my job as I grow is to watch the elders across the land and what they doing. I have to be able to read them the same way as I read a book.
Wow.
So Ty's been telling them how to navigate the contract because we wasn't supposed to be affected by the contract. That was
What
us a
contract?
whole nother.
What contract are we talking about?
The contract we know it today is the Constitution. The Constitution is a blood oath agreement of Scottish Rite Freemasons under Albert Pike, right? Who is George Washington with a shaved beard.
So you're trying to say they pulled the okey doke on us?
Yeah, George Washington was my complexion, probably a little lighter if he was lighter. He was originally from Barbados, and his last name wasn't Washington; it was Washita. But what happened was the Scottish Rite Moors, who were in exile from Spain, challenged us to a conjure war. And the conjure war was to have us pit against the chiefs with the feathers and the elves with the fezzes to establish who was the wisest on the land. And George Washington, I did a lecture on this last night on my page, by the way, where I went into detail about how we got deceived.
Well, can you share a bit of that? Do a little bit of a recap for us so we can, because one thing, I don't know if the audience caught it, but you said you mentioned two kinds of Moors. Or you said the Moors with the the chiefs.
The term more is what you call a catch term in grammar. A catch term is you got different people or different subject or idea in multiple language. But when you translate it into the new language, you need a term that's going to encompass all of these different ideas.
Okay.
Right? So the term more, it was the catch term for the more, the moreno, morisco, the amur, Inca, the amore, amaru, all of those terms in English is rendered as more in translation. But they're not the same people.
Okay, not the same. Explain. Because we try to say that they're all the same, we just in different places, but you...
Because that's how they was, so in the Conjure War, if ones with the feathers is the ones who is the defenders, the black piece on the chessboard. The ones who are in the fezzes came over, they were white, the white pieces on the chessboard. The white man ain't white. The white man look like us.
Okay.
Right? Now, over here in modern times, some of our elders can halfway see them and they call them Negropeans. Right? So what they doing is they following the biblical blueprint of Jacob, undermining Esau, the ruddy red one, right? But they different people. But they don't want us to know this because we have what they call first right to the earth right. In other words, the women on the land over here are the ones who have the right to reclaim the earth at the close of the age. And we had to raise the matriarchy. And in order to raise the matriarchy, we have to put the pieces together of what happened, who did, where they done it at, how they done it, who was involved, who we are, who they are. So let's take Empress Tierra Gostin El Bay, Empress Verdiasi. She had El and she had Bay on her name. That means that the knowledge that she possessed, she could take feathers from a bay or fez from an L in order to reclaim the land. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And her bloodline ties straight back to Noble Drew Ali, same blood, Cherokee Nation, Washita, Didong, the mound builders of ancient. Now, all the time, they over here in our midst, just the wheat and the chaff story.
You talked about that, yeah.
Right. They look like us, but they don't treat each other like we do. Right. There was a certain code on the land over here. You could tell the people from the land because no matter what happened, they follow that code. That's what you call righteousness. The code of righteousness is written in your heart. They call it those who follow the golden rule, the golden ones. Right? Mm-hmm. And we were the ones with the feathers. This is the Thanksgiving memorial. Because we had to know that the turkey was the symbol for the chief. In the harvest festival, the women cooked the chief a turkey. They took the harvest festival, then they murdered us on Black Friday. Mm. So it's not Thanksgiving that's not part of our culture. It's Black Friday that's the damning of a nation.
So they let's stop just a minute. So what you're saying is the day when before the what we're going through the last couple of years, folks ran out and purchased everything and got all these deals and so forth is actually a day that commemorates the murdering of our chiefs. So the Thanksgiving, when folks say the Thanksgiving is not ours, that was ours, but it was what happened the day after.
That didn't have nothing. That wasn't ours. They gave that to us whether we wanted it or not, and called it Black Friday. That's when the wars initiated. When they killed off the elders, and there's nobody to teach the children. Right? It's all in morals and dogma. It's the ones who follow the moral code written in their heart versus the ones who follow the dogma that is taught out in the open.
So when you talk about the dogma taught out in the open, are we talking quote unquote religious dogma or this?
Yes.
Okay.
So remember in Circle 7, Noble Drew Ali wrote a chapter called Religious Controversy. Now, why is that in there? Why is it important to know about the religious controversy? Because that shit didn't have nothing to do with us. We fighting over it. We fighting if we're going to be Christians, Muslims, or Hebrews, and we wasn't none of that shit.
Yeah. They're talking in the chat. I mentioned in the chat, they hear the static that's coming from you. So I don't know. We tried to get rid of it before we went live, y'all. So we're going to do the best we can. We were talking prior and it was clear. As soon as we got ready to go live, the static came. So y'all know how it is, you know, any kind of little interference. So please bear with us. Just listen real close, turn up your sound or whatever. But, you know.
You want me to try to go out and come back in? We could probably get a better link, better connection.
Okay, if you'd like to do that, let's see. Yeah, because you know it popped up all of a sudden.
Okay, let me see if we can get a better connection.
Okay, all right, y'all. Thank you all for your patience. Listen, while he's getting it back, listen, share this link, please. This is a special broadcast, and the brother's gonna drop some stuff. Please, please, please share right now. Share as far as you can. Tell everybody to get on. Let me see how it sounds right now.
How is it? How was the sound?
Sounds good to me right now. So let's hold on to that.
Okay.
Right. So yeah. Just let everybody know. You know, I want to see 1,000 in the chat. We've had more than 1,000. So come on. Let them so we can all know this, get this knowledge. I have given you, Brother Hayes, another name, a nickname, or like a tag, and I call you the record keeper. You know, among the other things that you did, you're an activist, but I call you the record keeper because whenever we have talked over the last week or so, you just have such a barrage of, just a plethora of information and knowledge, and it just flows out of you just so natural. We talked about how you study we talked about the similarities between you and Grand Sheik on how you absorb yourself into things. But I mean, you just have, it's like you were endowed or endued and viewed with the gift of retaining or to get the information, the knowledge of the records, and to bring it back. Like I should have called you Brother Akashic. You got so much up in you.
Yeah, that might upset my sister Casha, so don't do that.
Oh, I don't mean no disrespect. I mean no disrespect, but I just know that when you and I have spoken, it has been just, I just get filled up with the knowledge that comes out. But let's go back. You're back on. So let's get back where we were. We were talking about what were we talking about? My goodness, you know where you were. I want you to get back on that, because we're, the different Moors. When you talked about the white man isn't the white that we know that they're not white, but you're saying that there were white, so-called white men, but they look